seriously windy day, which Met Éireann predicted was going to be snow and hail, and I'm standing in blue sky with a lot of wind, so apologies for the wind noise. But this is the Ford Mustang Bullitt, 475 brake horsepower, 5-litre V8, powered through the rear wheels, just like a Mustang's supposed to be. This phenomenal piece of kit will be probably the last of its kind. I don't see a good environmental future for this kind of engine anymore, despite it being an incredibly rare sale. It is an amazing car, an outstanding car, but I still have to review it as a car. So, if you like that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button and come with me while we have a look around the inside of a Ford Mustang hero car. Oh, Mustang Bullitt. Now, this course comes with historical reference. It references a movie called Bullitt, which would have been Steve McQueen's movie. Really good movie, but it contains a car chase, which has become one of the most famous car chases ever filmed. And it contains a Mustang versus the bad guy's car, but the Mustang was driven by Steve McQueen, the good guy. And it came in this colour, so as a car you can have it in this colour, and that's it, as the Mustang Bullitt. Comes with Recaro seats, which are the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in when it comes to one of these cars. It's definitely built for comfort in that respect. The layout of the car is the same as any other Mustang. There is some detailed features. You get this sort of a pool ball, a white pool ball style gear stick, which has 6 speeds in our manual gearbox, manual only. It's all you need, to be honest with you. The gearbox is so good in this, it really does feel good. This is all cued from the original Mustang. This has a Bang & Olufsen stereo in it, but this part here is all from the original Mustang, the way it looked inside. You do get a glove box, it's quite a decent little one. It's in there as well with some manuals in it, and it's also got the lock and wheel nut thing inside there too. Coming across to the centre dashboard, we've seen these before in Fords and in Mustangs particularly. They can adjust up and down and left and right. Good plastics used, good materials used across the top. Hand stitched across here, and a hand stitched steering wheel to go with it. I'll start the car in a minute, but through the middle here we have a standard touchscreen that comes from Ford. It works perfectly well. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are also installed in this as well. A physical knobs turn it up and down, and tuning buttons and fast forward. There are physical buttons here as well as touchscreens, so they do dual buttons. Dual zone climate control for the car, which is very good. Heats up very quick as well. And then we have 4 old school switches here. One for hazard warning lights, one to turn off the traction control. Don't do that unless you know what you're doing. One to adjust the weight of the steering wheel, and one to adjust the modes, the different modes that are in the car itself. The modes we're talking about here are different modes. You can have track mode, you can have drag strip mode. Now sport mode, sport, I don't know if there's sport plus or sports, but there is normal mode after that, and then there's my mode, which is the one that you set up for yourself and you decide what you want to turn on and off. The car seems to default every single time to normal mode when it starts up, which is kind of annoying because I've taken the time to set up my mode the way I like it, and I'd really like the car to start in that without having to adjust this mode track button all the time. The steering wheel has this cheesy logo in the middle called Bullitt, which I don't particularly like, but it's there. I suppose you can have it debadged maybe at some point. Also I have my stereo controls this side, and this side here controls this thing in the middle. Down the bottom here I have a Mustang button, which allows you to be able to control what the menus are going to appear down here. And I have active cruise control in this and active lane keeping. So you get the best of a classic car, but all modern stuff to go with it. A couple of cup holders in the middle and a big box behind that to put your stuff in, with a USB port inside and a USB port up front, so we're all okay. Could do with a second USB port up front, just me. So starting it is its own little epic journey. So you press the clutch in, press the start button, and that big old burble of a V8 pops up behind you. You can hear the exhaust system underneath the car, you can hear the engine out in front as well. On the dashboard here you can change the colours and the layout and stuff. This is all electronic, this dashboard, so real modern stuff has been put into this car in the front. And then I have the touch screen here in the centre for controlling the radio and the climate control and so on. You can press the buttons and change whatever channel you want. It's very straightforward, very easy to use, very simple little system. We've seen it before in all of the Ford systems. It is not a new system. The gear shift is absolutely outstanding. It's very good Ford. Whatever that gearbox is, that should be in every car out there. So on my dash, you see the car has started in normal mode. It has started again in normal mode. So again, I have to go to the mode switch here and go normal to my mode, which changes the exhaust note. It does, listen. I love these cars, they're brilliant. Anyway, forget about the engine for a minute. This is what it's all about, of course, the engine inside. In the back seat, you will fit a couple of adults back there, but only they'll hit the roof. Their head will be inside the roof. They will have to crouch down. It's quite a low space back there. The kids fit fine, so that's all that really matters, actually, to be honest with you, the kids being in the back. Front seats are a commodious thing and really very, very good. But let's have a look at the boot in the wind. So wind noise apart, this is the back of the Mustang. I love those vents. Look, you get your fingers in behind each of the lights. I really like those little detail back here. The Bullitt logo appears in the back, and right up here is a reversing camera, which I'm going to clean now because it's manky. But the Bullitt logo appears back here. Again, I think that's a little bit cheesy. Just maybe it's me, but I just think it's a bit cheesy. Under here, you press a little button, and the whole lid lifts up. There is actually a commodious boot in this. It's quite a big thing back there, but the opening is very narrow, very, very narrow, because of the long window on the back of the car. But it does actually go back down quite a distance. Nothing to complain with down here. You're not going to get any spare wheels. You can fit a spare wheel, but it doesn't look like the ones that are supposed to be on this car. You're going to get a repair kit that's in there as well, but it's fine. You're not going to fit the spare wheel in here for sure. And the weight of one of those wheels in that boot would be incredible. Even a skinny spare wheel would look weird. So they put in a repair kit. I prefer to see a little skinny spare wheel in there, but that's the boot. Anyway, driving time. God, I love this car. It's that noise. Now, unfortunately, I have frozen my children to death on multiple occasions because I just drive around with the window open the whole time because it makes such a good noise. Good morning, Portlaoise. Is everyone okay this morning? Nobody's got a hangover. Not like a bit of a V8 in the morning. Okay, I'll stop behaving like a child now in a second. So what I do is put it into my mode. My mode puts the car in normal mode, turns off launch control. Don't need launch control, like. Puts the suspension in normal, which is quite comfy. Puts the steering in normal. Puts the exhaust in track. Now I am going to continue to drive with the window open for a minute because that noise is just, it's beautiful. And it's when I stop accelerating, you hear it's gone quiet. Then you just go. I would listen to that for the day. It's gorgeous. Okay, so stop behaving like a child for a minute, close the window, let's review the car as the car should be. Right. So what do you get for your 73,500 odd euro? You get a lot of horsepower, 475 from a 5-litre V8 engine that's it's an American block engine. It's a real hoedown, very actually low output engine for the size, physical size of the engine being a 5-litre. 475 is not much. I mean, Porsche get about 350 from a 2.3 litre, or is that Ferrari gets that? I forget if it's Ferrari or Porsche. One of those European manufacturers gets a lot more horsepower from a lot smaller engine. But that's not what this is about. You still can't compare the two. You still can't look at performance versus what you get versus la 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 la, because it's all carology, because this is based on nostalgia, and that's a big seller. This has Bullitt logos on it, which, by the way, I find a little bit cheesy. That logo on the steering wheel particularly, it's just this target thing with Bullitt in a minute. It's just a bit, I'd rather a little horse there, or special edition, or I don't know, something else, but not Bullitt, or even debadged entirely. Take the badges off the back as well, they're also a little bit cheesy. Love the pool ball gear knob, but like I said, this is very nostalgic. This is designed to evoke this feeling you've got from watching the movie Bullitt, which, by the way, is a brilliant movie. It has one of the best car chases in the world, but has some really bad cuts in that car chase where one of the car crashes, but they cut, then the car isn't crashed. It's brilliant. But the evocative scene, of course, is Steve McQueen reversing the car after making the balls of going around a corner. He reverses the car back, and it makes this wow, 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 wow sound as he goes backwards, and his head is sticking out the window and all that. It's a brilliant scene, and that's exactly what this car is meant to evoke for you. Ford have done an exceptional job. This is what Ford is actually good at. These kind of big monster cars, these Ford F-150, the big V8 cars, what they're really good at. Ford Europe have struggled for the last little while now about what kind of car to have. The Ford Focus is absolutely brilliant car, but the spec is so hard to get right because of WLTP, and the Ford Fiesta is one of the best cars they've ever made. The Fiesta ST is something I would recommend anyone to drive and have a spin in. It is a phenomenal car to drive. Own and live with every day. It could get a bit expensive, but you know, no more expensive than this. But for 75 grand, I'm going to get something here that is uniquely special, something that is really going to stand out in the crowd of performance cars that are becoming available. Now, drawback in Ireland, of course, we pay a phenomenal amount of tax on a car like this. This is well in excess of €2,000 a year to tax, and probably will go up in every single budget due to CO2 emissions, of which petrols put out more CO2 than diesels. But it's hard to debate the need for a car like this. There is none. There's no need for a car like this. Nobody needs a Mustang. But want that's a whole different ball game. I'm only in third. It's just an amazing, that symphony of bass notes that come on and they get you low down in the bits, and it's like wow, wow. It's like running from a lion, you know. It's like having a lion over your shoulder roaring at you that you know you've got to get away from, and that's exactly what you need to do with this car. It's just outstanding. Listen, let's open the window here, open that window a little bit over there. Let's get the whole cacophony, because I've slowed right down. Here we go. Man, I can do that all day. I would be happy to sit here behind the wheel of this car, trundling along to Morocco. I don't care, wherever. You point the nose and give me the petrol money and I'll be there. Now, I did start with a full tank of fuel. I've done about 400 kilometers and I had to put 20 quid in it. So it ain't cheap. It's not going to be cheap to run either. That's honest to God, everybody should experience this car, a V8 car, because they're going to be gone soon. I don't believe there's a future for these cars. I don't think in a couple of years' time we're going to see many more V8. This is the last of the V8s in that Mad Max sense of things. There isn't going to be, I don't think there's a future for big, powerful petrol engines that continue to go. And I think it'll just, even look at Formula One, look at any of the race cars out there right now. They are all small engines, tiny little high performance, replaced after every race engines. Not these big brutish V8 that goes, when you want to go, it's just a phenomenal sound. You got to experience it at some point. I really, really wish that everybody could sit where I've sit, and I've given multiple test drives to this thing over the weekend. People sitting in that passenger seat and just grinning from ear to ear. That experience, that smile that comes on people's faces when that noise comes on in the pantomime of sitting in the Bullitt car. It's special. It feels special. It feels unique. It feels something totally different, and just that behind you all the time is absolutely outstanding. It's not often any of us as journalists get terribly passionate about a car, get really nearly emotional about a car. This car, of course, has flaws. Of course it has. But every one of them are glossed over by the pantomime of just driving the bloody thing, just being out on the road in it. really do fall in love. My kids have already named it Steve, as in Steve McQueen. But anyway, thank you for joining me for this video. Hit the subscribe button if you want more. And until the next time, I will see you on the far side.